As is happening to homeowners and businesses across the country, insurance rates are rising considerably for cities and counties, including the city of Gering. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News, powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, the Gering City Council Monday night approved renewing their coverage through the League Association of Risk Management, or LARM, with an increase that came out to 15.4% for the coming fiscal year, which is actually less than anticipated. City Administrator Pat Heath explained after years of nationwide insurance industry claims averaging $44 billion a year, inflation, and 3 years of claims at just over $110 billion since 2017 have prompted large increases.
What's happening is for every dollar that they take in premiums, they're paying out now about $1.08 in claims. So they're all losing money, and so they're trying to recoup their money by increasing your premiums on your homeowner's insurance and your auto insurance. So this is no different than us on our buildings and our liability insurance. We have the same thing here.
Some Nebraska cities have opted to shop the market instead of renewing their LARM coverage, such as Columbus, but Heath noted doing so would cost a 5% discount that Gering is receiving. In addition, City Clerk Kathy Welfel explained there are numerous other advantages and services, especially in the area of risk management, provided because the city is covered under that policy, which would not otherwise be covered. Also during this week's meeting, the Gering City Council and city staff honored the volunteers who have made a significant impact through their efforts on behalf of the Gering Evergreen House. Parks and Recreation Director Amy Seiler told the panel it was important to highlight the work of an incredibly special group that devotes countless hours at the facility every year. Seiler singled out the efforts of two volunteers, Tina Lose and Carol Knab, calling them extraordinary and a gift to the community and surrounding area.
These two women have come alongside and they have had a mission to feed people and to teach people how to grow their own food so that they can be successful and be able to take care of themselves. And they model that all of the time in their gardens. They work with an incredible program called Growing Nebraska. And I'd love to tell you, these women get grants every year, around $4,000, sometimes $5,000. They're constantly working on grants.
In addition to helping teach people how to grow their own food, Seiler said all the volunteers have had a big impact on food banks in both Gering and Scottsbluff. While especially hot weather limited the 2022 crop, they did donate harvest of about 1,800 pounds of produce. Seiler noted that the previous year, with perfect weather, led to more than 3,300 pounds of food donations. We'll have more news right after this.
Swipe right, swipe left, endlessly searching. Finding the perfect match isn't always perfect, but it can be when it comes to finances. Nora found the perfect business loan. Jenny opened her first savings account. Grammy loves her checking account. We found a match for Wilson Farms. The Sandersons were matched with a mortgage. Regardless of your financial situation, Platte Valley Bank will match you with the perfect solution. Find your match at Platte Valley Bank.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. Governor Jim Pillen held the news conference on Wednesday to tout the investments that the Nebraska legislature has made this past session in education as students prepare to go back to school. Pillen signed a $1 billion ceremonial check to Nebraska students as part of the occasion. A legislative proposal during this past session would provide $1,500 per student in foundation aid and help cover 80% of special education costs. The bill represents what Pillen and legislative leaders called Nebraska's largest state investment in K-12 education since state aid was created in 1990.
But you can be rest assured that my focus is about kids and making sure that we as a state and we as a community never ever give up on any kids. Our work in the education arena has been off to a good start, but we still have a lot of work to do so that every student has a great high quality education in Nebraska. We have a lot of kids that we need to lift up and keep making a bigger and bigger difference.
A pivotal piece of new spending in LB 583 that would come from a $1 billion education future fund. Well, one Panhandle hospital is among a dozen healthcare facilities in Nebraska receiving a new round of federal funding through USDA Rural Development. Morrill County Community Hospital in Bridgeport has been awarded nearly $600,000 in a USDA Emergency Rural Healthcare Grant announced on Tuesday. They're one of 11 facilities in the state receiving funding intended to reimburse rural hospitals for operating losses during the pandemic, with a 12th grant going to the city of Scribner for the purchase of a new ambulance. USDA awarded 172 emergency grants totaling $129 million in 39 states and Puerto Rico in this latest round of funding. And the community came out in full force yesterday afternoon to honor the longtime executive director of the Scottsbluff Gering United Chamber of Commerce. A retirement party for Karen Anderson was held from 3 to 5 at the Bluffs Business Center, and a wide variety of people came out to wish her the best as she enters life's next chapter. During her decades-long tenure, Anderson helped area businesses come together as one united force, hosted the Roles and Issues conference calls with our District 48 state senators, and helped organize the annual chamber banquet. She tells KNB News that it's been quite a ride, and this was one of her biggest achievements during her time at the chamber.
The unified signage system that we have took 13 years before it came to fruition because politically people kept changing, but you had to keep after the money and re-explaining the project. That made a big difference. We brought in Ed McMahon and Roger Brook, which focused on destination and gathering places. So that's where the gathering places came for both Scottsbluff and Gering.
She was really involved in not only the local but regional. How do we make things better so that we're not competing with each other? Because you take the Panhandle, can't compete. We got to be working together. She was phenomenal, and she was a great leader and mentor in helping both me and other people learn the importance of working together through those things.
Anderson tells KNB News she's looking forward to retirement and plans to start traveling a whole lot more.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Logos in Gering is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees, and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gering.
This is KNEB.TV Ag News from the FNBO Ag Desk. FNBO, the great big small bank.
Welcome to this week's Cattle Call. I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network. And kind of the doldrums of summer, shall we say. The heat is here. Is that affecting the livestock? Well, it might be affecting the way we see some movement going on. It's feeders. Are they too high? Where are we sitting when it comes to the cash in the north? And really, how current are these cattle? Plus, I'm going to ask Brad to put his geek hat on because we haven't talked since that inventory report came out on Friday. So we'll kind of get his thoughts on what those numbers have to say on this week's show. And I think, Brad, maybe we need to start out with that because the inventory report came out on Friday. Everybody said, oh, surprise, surprise, heifers aren't being retained like we thought.
Thanks for asking that because I was thinking kind of dull today. I was trying to come up with something, exciting, something that was different than yesterday. But anyway, no, I think it's worth reflecting a little bit, at least if, like you called me a number nerd here on the cattle thing. I think that the inventory reports are quite interesting, more than most traders think they are, because you never see that they really get reacted to a lot. Although this one certainly you could see on Monday's trade with the deferred cattle, next August cattle sharply higher, almost $2 higher. Reflecting, I think, a response to the cow herd, which is the lowest in 52 years. As you mentioned, also with the lack of retention, didn't change those percentages really. The other thing that I maybe had mentioned earlier last week was that this monthly cattle and feed report, because it's the end of a quarter, is more it's more thorough. It actually breaks out the placements, whether the placements for steers or heifers. And like you said, the number of heifers placed during that quarter was almost identical to the number of heifers placed last year during the same quarter. It's I would caution everybody before they get real caught up in that is, don't forget it's July. The north, I think, is going to be a little more reflective of whether there's heifer retention in the north when we start getting out into that third and fourth quarter, especially the fourth quarter. We'll see what those numbers look like by then. A little side note here, being that we're talking about macro stuff here today, and that don't, one robin doesn't make it spring, as somebody has said to me before, but. So I don't know if any of you guys are watching this northern video. I have been this week. Just rough count calves. I counted about 88,000 steer calves and 22,000 heifer calves on that sale. 4-to-1 more steers than heifers. I don't know. Maybe there's a different way you sell heifers off of that. I do think probably more heifers might move direct, and they might be, speculating on some replacement quality heifers. But I was astounded that that was so out of proportion that way. So I would still think the next move here is to look ahead to see if we don't get that heifer retention and see what that doesn't do to first quarter supplies, particularly of fat cattle next year.
Well, it's very surprising to me. Maybe it shouldn't be, the amount of social media posts I've seen. I know I sent you a screenshot as well of some of these sale barns with these cow numbers. So it makes me wonder, are we getting rid of cows and keeping some of the younger ones?
Well, that would be what one would normally expect. And you asked a great question, and everybody that I think has a vote here, I've been asking that question, and I get a little bit of diverse answers to that. Now, you go down to Missouri, and it's liquidation period because of drought. There's areas of Kansas that are still that way. So did you have some placements out of that area? A lightweight category was where the big placements came from, of course, that's 6 weight and under. And you saw an uptick in the foreign placements with some of these states that border Mexico, where you saw some an uptick in the Mexican imports. But so all of that. But you think about the average age of the rancher is no spring chicken, something like 76 or 77 years old. I've had a number of people, even where they're sitting in areas like the Dakotas, North Dakota, Montana, where they've got all kinds of grass. Some of these guys are saying, I'm getting $2,000, $2,100, $2,300 for a cow. I'm about sick of it anyway. This maybe is my retirement. And so this one's a little tougher call than 2013, where they just flipped a switch. It started to rain. We retained heifers. We held cows. And I don't think that's all bad for the industry, because we can go gradually into these lower numbers, and maybe we can have a gradually better market for a longer sustained period than we did in that 2014 slot.
As you remind you, commodity futures and options do involve a substantial risk of loss and not suitable to all investors. And that's been this week's Cattle Call on the Rural Radio Network.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Let's take a peek at your weekend community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
At Platte Valley Bank, we want to help you plan for tomorrow while you enjoy today. Our personalized trust services can help you do just that. You've worked hard to build your legacy, and you want to make sure that gets passed on for generations to come. We offer the professional guidance necessary to ensure that happens, according to your wishes. We pride ourselves in being friendly and professional while offering a highly tailored full line of trust and estate planning services to accommodate you. You belong here.
And finally tonight, as Morrill Public Schools prepares for the upcoming school year, there are some changes coming their way. First, the Early Learning Center will be cutting back its hours and closing at 5 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. Superintendent Barry Schaefer explains.
We were getting a lot of staff burnout, so we were dealing with a lot of turnover. So one of the things we decided to do was to cut back on the time that we're open.
The added time will allow Early Learning Center staff to join in more professional development time with other district staff. Next, the school district now has a new vision and mission statement.
And our vision statement is that Morrill Public Schools, we will work with all stakeholders to help our students navigate their future. And our mission statement is every student matters and every moment counts.
Morrill's first day of school is Wednesday, August 16th. And for more information about the upcoming school year, you can go to the district website at mpslions.org. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.